Hi, I'm Frank Romano. Welcome to my little library. Well, it's not so little anymore, but for 53 years I've been collecting books and memorabilia about the printing industry. As you know, I work in the future of the industry, in inkjet and digital technology, but I love to look back at how we used to do things. This is one of the rarest things I have. This is a leaf from the Nuremberg Chronicle, 1493, and this is a leaf from a Jensonian Bible that was done at that time. So I've been collecting this material for years, and it goes beyond a print. I also have, you ready for this? This is a Newton. This was the first personal digital assistant, came out from Apple in the late 80s, early 90s. By the way, it died in 2000. It didn't have a program that would handle anything after that. The most interesting thing is the original artwork for Gaudi's last typeface. So again, there are probably 2,000 books here. There are another 2,000 in the warehouse. But almost anything you can imagine about the history of the printing industry, from the Penrose Annual to a complete set of the Inland Printers, the first magazine for printing that was ever published, started in 1883. I always thought there were others over in Germany that were earlier, but no. Inland Printer was the first magazine that the printing industry ever saw. My first job in the industry was in 1959, right out of high school, and I worked for the Mergenthaler Linotype Company. It was the greatest experience you could have because the company was converting from hot metal to photographic typesetting. This is my little newspaper corner. The beginnings of newspapers were really these little flyers, if you will, and they talked mostly about shipments into a certain port. This is the London Gazette from 1682. It was one of the first newsletters, which became later newspapers. And I've been trying to collect them over the years, so this is one of the first. Why am I holding a doorknob? This is my collection of Penrose Annuals. This is the Tribune book of open air sports. This was the first book ever typeset on a linotype machine. This again was 1886. The Tribune had a publishing operation, and that's why they produced this book. Now, the next one is kind of weird. The Wonderful World of Insects. Now, why would I have a book on insects? Well, I really don't want a book on insects. But this was the first book that was ever typeset on a photographic typesetting machine, 1949. And there's a whole page in the back that tells you about it. One of the first books that was ever published on the history of printing was in 1701. And by the way, this one happens to be in English. There's another version of it in French. But again, there weren't many histories of printing that were done until we enter the 1900s as such, when Davini published his first major history of printing.